Hello people, welcome to the second part of how to build your own infrastructure. In this part, you will experience the true power of virtualization. I'm gonna show you how to install Proxmox. While I will do it in a virtual machine, you will experience some dark magic with KVM, like CPU pinning and spoofing. So let's take a look. Let's open Virtual Machine Manager. This is a graphical interface for libvirt, the layer that is managing the virtual machines. So you don't need to know all the code yourself. You just click on plus, manual installation, Debian 11 because Proxmox is based on Debian. And we will configure that later. Let's make a storage for the virtual machine. Proxmox 500 gigabytes should be enough for a little project, hopefully. Okay, forwards, Proxmox, and customize. Okay, let's do the basic steps in a virtual machine. Let's remove the TPM model because we don't need TPM. Okay, basic steps. Hosts GPU, CPU pass-through. That means the CPU will have the same CPU model as my host system. I will give it 14 cores, 2 threads, so it's 28 threads. Let's give it 24 gigabytes of RAM. I already did it before, so let's take it. 24 gig. Let's add the ISO file for Proxmox. Pick. And don't forget to make it bootable. It has to boot first from the CD-ROM. Cool, that's it. So quick, so easy. But now, let's take a look at the XML file that Virtual Machine Manager generated for us. And let's take a look at my Wikipedia, where I already made a template for CPU pinning. Let's just copy it and paste. Adjust to 28 threads. 28, yeah, 28. So 14 times 20 times 2 is 28. So what are the advantages of CPU pinning, you may ask? There are two big main advantages of it. The first advantage is performance, because you are not sharing the CPU cores between multiple virtual machines or maybe your host operating system. So all the cores that you are pinning belongs to the virtual machine. And the second thing that comes out from the first thing is security. When the CPU cores just belongs to you and you don't share the buffer with the other virtual machines or host system, other virtual machines cannot read from the CPU buffer or CPU cache, and that makes it more secure. Okay, that was CPU pinning, but let's enable multi-threading for AMD CPUs. This is the second line. And the first line is increasing performance. I don't know how, but it works. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it. Apply. So to the spoofing part, that's not necessary, of course, for Proxmox. But for example, if you're doing a Windows gaming machine and you want to play some games on it with anti-cheat solutions, they made block virtual machines from playing the game. Yeah, so you can just spoof it. Like SMBIOS mode equals host makes forwards your mainboard information and your CPU information to the virtual machine. So all the applications think, okay, cool, I have an MSI mainboard. Everything is alright, right? That is on OS level. Nice. Now this is a little bit advanced. We don't need this now, but let's use this to hide the KVM. Put it in features. And clock is also very useful for performance, not only for spoofing, because it makes a more natural CPU frequency timing that increases performance and, of course, makes it look as you're running on bare metal. Clock. Let's place it here. Pick. And we are finished. Let's begin the installation. Yep, cool. We don't need this window anymore. Okay. This step is now exactly the same as you would put from an USB stick with Proxmox on it and just stick it in your server and start it. So let's start the installation. Exactly, he's gonna ask for an IP address. Yep, and he got an IP address. Perfect. Cool, let's agree to this. And let's use XT4, the default one. I like Btrfs more, but it says it's in a preview, so let's just stick with the defaults. Next, and the country is alright. Let's type some passwords 123456 and test.test.com. So the hostname proxmox.local. The hostname is basically if you don't want to use the IP address and you're in the local network, you can type the hostname instead. And in your case, probably the gateway will be your router, and the same for DNS server. But maybe you prefer Cloudflare, who knows? That's cool. That's everything. So let's install. Even they advertise that you have just only like 1 to 3% performance loss. KVM, that stands for Kernel Virtualization, Kernel Virtual Machine. This is a Linux feature, and basically the whole server industry, 90% probably, runs on Linux on KVM, and maybe the 10% on Hyper-V, that's based on Windows NT kernel from Microsoft. So all the solutions like VMware, ESXi, Microsoft Asia, Google Cloud, all these big providers have Linux KVM in the background. Even if they call it differently, it's still the same technology. Cool, that was it. Let's remove the CD-ROM. So we boot from the actual disk. I need unfortunately to force it off. Force it off. Start. And that's basically it. Base installation of Proxmox without any configuration. Pick. And we can basically now go to the website, the web interface from Proxmox. Here, that was fast. I think the password was 123456. Cool. We are inside. If we check the summary, we got 28 threads, exactly 28 threads, 24 gigabytes of RAM, and 500 gigabytes of storage. So in the next video, I will teach you how to make your first virtual machine, maybe some containers, and we will set up the first application with a proxy and a firewall. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.